Well, kia ora and welcome into the Harness Half Hour, proudly brought to you by Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith, and this week on the show we chat to American trainer Linda Toscano, who is the trainer of Speeding Spur during his North American campaign, following his first public outing in New Jersey over the weekend. South Canterbury trainer and vet Donna Williamson chats to us following her win with Clyde last Thursday at Forbury Park. And Hunterville-based trainer Scott Dickson is also on the show after recording his most successful season to date as a trainer. Plus, Richard Wilson returns this week with his Bookie update. But first, here are the headlines. Queensland Derby winner Self Assured will now head to the spelling paddock after his dominant win for the All-Stars team on Saturday night. He's now won 6 from 6. Stablemates are Princess Tiffany and Jessie Duke dead heated for third place. And the win was also Mark Purdon's 100th Group 1 training victory. Well done, Mark. Bella Veloce was successful in Friday night's Franklin Country Cup at Alexandra Park. Trained by Anna Donnelly, Bella Veloce was driven to win by Scott Phelan. Anna has now recorded her most successful season as a trainer so far, with 33 wins. And JT Tyrone was the winner of Sunday's Rangiora Winter Cup. The 3-year-old son of Better's Delight is trained by Robert Dunn and was driven to win by John Dunn. He has now won 4 of 11 career starts to date. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to go international on the podcast this week, and we're chatting with Linda Toscano, who is the trainer of Speeding Spur while he's in North America. Linda, thank you so much for your time. I know you're travelling back from Tioga Downs now, but I do have to congratulate you on your Hall of Fame induction.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Were you expecting such a big honour?
No, I was not expecting it. I don't think anyone that starts out in this business ever starts out thinking that they're going to wind up in the Hall of Fame. I think you just try to aspire to do the best you can and win one race at a time, and it turned out pretty well for me.
And I find it fascinating, Linda, that you actually initially wanted to be a vet. Is that right?
That is true. I love the horses, and I've loved animals and dogs my whole life. And when I started out at the racetrack, I was riding hundreds and jumpers and the riding horses and competitive horses that way in the show ring. And I thought it would be fun to add to my kind of repertoire the race horses. And when I found my way to the racetrack, I never left. I fell in love with the horse.
And you've had such a remarkable career, Linda. I believe that you've also been to New Zealand before and you've had success with New Zealand bred horses.
I have, and I love New Zealand. I went 2 years in a row, going back about 10 years ago, and I was able to go to the yearling sales there, and I was able to go and train at some of the farms, and I really enjoyed myself there. You people are wonderful, and you were so kind to me while I was there. I really enjoyed myself.
And of course now you have a very special New Zealander in your barn in Speeding Spur. Can you tell us, Linda, how has he settled into life there in New Jersey?
He is an absolute lovely pleasure to have around.
Oh.
I mean, he was so well cared for back in New Zealand. It is so obvious that he was treated like the champion that he was. He came looking marvelous. He's a happy horse. He settled right in. The girl that looked after market share, Shelley Greco, is taking care of him. So she knows her way around top trotters, and she's done a wonderful job with him also. And but he's a lovely horse.
Yeah, I've heard from Shelley a few times. She's really fallen in love with his personality, hasn't she?
Yes, she has, and deservedly so. He looks forward to his work every day. He's an easy turnout. He's an easy horse to be around, considering he's a stallion. I can't say enough. You know, some of the horses that have come over have been rank at times, and this horse is just so obviously been so well cared for. He's a lovely horse.
Yeah, because obviously the difference in racing style, they've got to get up to their work a lot faster, given that it's fast mile racing and it's all about the mile time. He went to the qualifiers at the Meadowlands over the weekend and went 152 behind a phenomenal horse in Marion Marauder. Were you surprised with the time he went in that qualifier?
A little. I had worked him up. I had taken him up to the Meadowlands before we qualified him, and we did work him a fast mile with a fast half. Timmy Tetrick had gone with him. We went in a set of 2. So we knew that he had a big half, and we knew that he could do it. But Timmy was, and he's been so successful with bringing these horses over, like Chartinen and quite a few others. And he had said to me, trust me, I don't want to stress him his first start, so let's just get him around and make him comfortable and teach him. So his first qualifier, we just kind of gave him get his sea legs under him. And then last week, we added a hood just to he was in an open bridle his first qualifier. So we added the hood, and he tested him a little bit. And I was surprised that they went as fast as they did, but I was thrilled that he finished the way he did.
Yeah, he looked to be making really easy work of it. And what is the plan going forward for him at the moment, Linda?
Well, the connections have made him eligible to all the top races. I really don't want to start him against the best of the best if possible. So I'm going to enter him in an open competition, and hopefully he'll get a race in an overnight before we have to take on some stakes horses.
Yeah, because, it's such a big step too, isn't it, going into that level of competition. You want to just be able to ease him into it without him losing his mind almost initially.
Well, I think that because of the distances that you race over there, the sprints are your friend and your enemy. They can do it, but at the same time, you don't want them to get too grabby, and you don't want them to get too on the bit. So I want him to be able to be relaxed and learn to find his speed in the short distances before he has to go against the best. And these trotters that he's going to have to race against, if he's good enough, are seasoned. They've been only racing at the mile distance for a long time here, and they know how to go fast. They know how to turn it on quick and shut it off quick. And I want him to come to that on his own without having to force him to do it.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. In his best interests, obviously, right at the front of everything. And you've had some involvement with some amazing trotters in the past. You mentioned Market Share, of course, a Hambletonian winner, and the likes of Chapter 7. Do you have a highlight, Linda, in your career that stands out with one of these great horses?
I think they each had their own. I mean, Chapter 7, the night he beat Commander Crow in the Breeders' Crown at 4, he was parked every step of the mile, which is not common over here, and he just threw away. That was absolute highlight in my mind of Chapter 7. And Market Share, how could you not say he won so many races for me, and he was the little engine that could, but yet the Hambletonian is the brass ring, and to be able to win the Hambletonian over here is the absolute pinnacle of your career.
And of course, leading into some of these big stakes races, Linda, you've got such a strong barn of horses. Is there maybe one juvenile horse that we should be keeping an eye out for coming into those big races?
Well, my 3 Payson fillies right now look to be pretty talented. I have 3 Captain Charteris fillies, and they're pretty nice. So we'll see how that goes, and I've got a couple of Trotton fillies that look okay also. It's too early to know. We know that they're talented. We don't know how they'll stack up against the best yet.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're never far away from a good horse, Linda, so thank you so much for your time. As I mentioned, I know you're heading back from the track at Tioga, and you guys do some massive hours on the road, so thank you for taking time out to chat to us down in New Zealand.
Don't be silly. Call anytime. I appreciate it.
And in social media news, starting off with New Zealand, John Morrison collected his 100th New Zealand driving success when winning at Rangiora on Sunday. Well done, John. That features on our social pages. And harness racing's newest owners, TVNZ's Matt Hall-Smith and Julian Lee, met their racehorse Taumalolo at Trent Yesberg's property last week. They featured in the North Canterbury News and also on our Facebook page. From Australia, Colt 31 was successful in the Group 1 Blacksa Fake on Saturday at Albion Park. The 4-year-old won in a race record, beating Australia's best pacers in the event. For full news, follow Adam Hamilton or check out the HRNZ website for Aussie news. And from the USA, As mentioned, Speeding Spur made his first public appearance at the trials over the weekend, finishing strong second in 1:52 behind triple millionaire and Hambletonian winner Marion Marauder. Well, of course, one of the multi-talented members of the harness racing industry is Donna Williamson, and Donna was the trainer of Clyde, who won at Forbury last Thursday night. Donna, congratulations, that's 4 wins for the season.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of training, it's not the only thing you do in the industry. For those who aren't aware, can you explain about your other job?
I'm an equine veterinarian. I work for myself, by myself, which can be a wee bit of a challenge sometimes. I try to base most of my work around the breeding season, so a lot of what I do is the reproductive industry. I've got 2 thoroughbred stallions, one's semi-retired at the moment to cash, and the other one's once upon a time. And we probably do about 100 or more standardbred mares and 20-odd sport horse mares for artificial insemination every season.
And you're based in South Canterbury, is that right?
Yep, South Canterbury, just north of the racecourses where the standardbred mares live, so a lot of people are going back and forward to see them because they're on the land that is part of the racecourse that I lease from Timaru track, and no, everything's good.
Okay, so you mentioned you've got a couple of thoroughbred stallions. Would you say that you're a fan of both codes, or where did the harness involvement start?
My grandfather was a harness trainer, and my grandparents raised us, so along with my father, and so I've been around standardbred since I was 6 years old. I think he got me to put my first shoe on when I was 11 because he said he was too old to shoe my pony. And I think I was driving fast week when I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously you ended up becoming a vet, but did you have a dream to be involved in harness racing in some way, shape or form?
Oh, for sure. I remember, in the old days we used to, all the trainers, or at home anyway, we'd sit down and have a cup of tea at 10:30 in the morning. And I remember one morning Granddad said to me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A horse trainer like you." And he said, "No, you're not." He said, "You won't make any money doing that." He said, why don't you be a vet like your uncle?" And so that's where that came from, and now I'm doing both, so that's great.
That's fantastic. And I'd imagine, as you say, around the breeding season, Donna, it would just be absolutely crazy. So how do you balance training the horses and being on call as a vet around that time?
Yeah, it can get a wee bit tricky, and it's one of those situations where most of our training or young horse work happens in the winter months or from February onwards, and so we've got 10 in work at the moment, and come the breeding season, it's just the ones that are racing. So, it just has to happen like that. I can't do it any other way.
Yeah. And in the breeding season, I'd imagine, as I say, it's chaotic, it's full on, there's a lot of pressure, you're working for yourself, by yourself. What are some of the main rewards that you get from being involved as a vet?
I get a real thrill out of seeing those foals come out, get broken in, go to the races, and win. I bred Belmont Major. Tom Baggery bought him off me at the yearling sales, and I bred his mother. I put the semen in there. I foaled her. I bred her. I trained her. Then I put her in foal, and now that first foal's doing a fantastic job, and that's great. And the other side of it too, for the racehorse side of it, it's really great to see horses that I've treated improve and go on and do well at the races.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that you've been able to work with some remarkable mares, and the likes of Bethany. You've been able to look after her too.
Yeah, Bethany. She gives me some sleepless nights worrying about her, but no, she's good and wide at the moment, and in foal with a full to Lazarus. Wow. It's delight.
Because that's been a real emotional roller coaster for you and Gavin Chin. Just the pressure of having such a superstar broodmare in your care, I guess, would give you those sleepless nights.
Oh, it is stressful, and the other thing about her too is that she is a difficult mare to get in foal and to keep in foal, and so it worries me, and it doesn't matter where you go. People say to you, "Oh, how's Bethany? Is she in foal?" And and it's just last year I had to say no, she's not.
Yeah.
Whereas this year, yes, she is, and she's looking good. So that's great.
Oh, that's phenomenal. And Donna, in terms of the training side of things, you've now hit 20 training wins overall. Congratulations, that's great.
Thank you.
Do you have any goals on the training side of things going forward?
There's always goals, and I guess I'm a one day at a time sort of person. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was fantastic when I had Belmont Fire, and she won 7 races, 7 everyday average races, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Dominator's by far the best horse that I've ever had, and he, as long as I can keep him happy and keep, now that he's decided to trot all the way and do things right, then with a bit of luck he's going places, and wouldn't it be fantastic to win a group race or something like that?
Oh, exactly. Well, you're an extremely busy woman. I know you've stopped on the side of the road in Fairley on the way to do your day job, which is not just a day job. I know it's day, night and all hours of the day. So thank you for making time, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Jess.
Air Park Canterbury is Christchurch's only 24/7 privately owned off-site airport car parking. If you feel strongly about supporting privately owned business, support Air Park Canterbury. It's only a short drive to the airport in the Air Park Canterbury free shuttle. So if you want the cheapest parking option around, try Air Park Canterbury. Call 0800 Air Park or online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Air Park Canterbury.
Well, as the harness racing season winds down, we're highlighting some people that have had remarkable seasons and reaching new milestones, and one of those is Scott Dickson, who of course is based in Hunterville and has recorded his best season so far. Scott, congratulations, 24 wins, that's outstanding.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yep.
Did you have a goal going into the season, or did you have an inkling that potentially you had the horsepower to reach that mark?
No, not really. We just wanted to do better than what we did last year, and buy a few more in and keep going sort of how we were, really.
Yeah. And being based in Hunterville, how long have you been there, Scott, and how many horses have you got on work typically?
We've been up here for 10 or 12 years now, and probably up to about 8 in work at the moment.
Yep.
That's about 8 racehorses is about us, max.
Yep. Yeah, and I'd imagine that the travelling too, the chances are a bit more limited as well as to where you're based.
Yeah, they are. You've got to fill the truck up to make it worthwhile, and we've got an 8-horse truck, so that limits us to 8 to go to the races, really. So it's just the way we've been working it.
Fantastic. And do you have some loyal owners, Scott, that continue to back you and the team?
No, we own them all ourselves, so
Great.
We can do what we want that way a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and that's fantastic. And of course, one of the highlights this season, no doubt, would be with the Nighthawk winning the North Island Country Cups champs. Yeah, no, definitely.
He's a bit of a surprise that he ended up sort of as good as he was, but you get lucky sometimes, I suppose, don't you?
You sure do. And when did you realise that he had a bit more ability than you first thought?
When he sort of just lined up and won, really.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, up until then, he was just a nice horse without being any better, but he seemed to try a hard race day and get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And going forward into next season, Scott, would you just try and outdo that number again going forward?
We'll see how we go, but it'd be nice to match it again next year, but there is a lot of work and a lot of travel in it. When you're busy on the dairy farm and that, it's sort of, at times of the year it makes it hard going, but if the right horses come along, there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah, and do you have to, with balancing with the dairy farm work, Scott, do you have to change the number of horses you've got in work at various times of the season?
Not too bad. The racing team seems to be the easiest way to manage that. Like if you can keep racing every fortnight or week, it makes the work at home a lot easier. So that's that's why we're dealing with just racehorses at the moment, and seems to be working.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And in terms of your involvement with harness racing, where did the interest start for you, Scott?
On my way back when I was at school, Dad used to have a couple in work, and then he had the stud. So, yeah, it's just been all along ever since I was young, really.
Yeah. And would you say he was one of your earliest mentors, or were there other people that kind of guided you through the early stages of your career?
Yeah, no, definitely started off with Dad giving us a hand, and then, then went out and worked for the likes of Ricky May and Carl Middleton and them, and Warren Stapleton, and sort of just keep going from there, really.
Yeah. Okay, and in your career so far, has there been any particular highlight that stood out for you on a personal level?
Probably this season, like just the amount of winners we've had and winning the country cups. It's always a bit of a buzz winning them ones.
Yeah. And going forward, goals-wise, is there any particular race or a target that one day you'd like to achieve as a trainer and horseman?
It's always good to have a nice one, sort of New Zealand Cup type horse, but yeah, we'll just keep working away what we're doing at the moment and see what ends up from there on, really.
Yeah, well, you're going in the right direction. Congratulations on your best season so far, and long may the success continue, Scott.
Rightio, thank you very much.
Hi, Razor here from Canterbury Rugby. When you need airport parking, choose a team that's on the ball. Meet at Airpark Canterbury and get their free Mercedes shuttle to drop you right off at the terminal. Airpark Canterbury have the cheapest 24/7 airport parking, and you'll never get left on the sidelines. Give Airpark Canterbury a try, airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, of course, it's great to welcome back to the podcast Richard Wilson after a week off last week and school holidays and all those fun things. How did you survive the school holidays, Richard?
Yeah, not too bad, Jess. It was pretty good. I had a mate come down from Hawke's Bay for a couple of days. We watched the World Cup cricket, so that was a bit of a downer. A real roller coaster ride, that one, but yeah, not too bad. We got through it anyway.
Oh, good. Okay, well, time to look now at the books and how they fared over the last week or so, and it looks as though it was fairly even, and we're starting off with Forbury Park last Thursday. How did it go there, Richard?
Yeah, again, it was an even night. The best bet of the night there, and it was also the biggest bet, came right in the last race, $3,000 on the Red Robber at $2.80. That one got home. Other handy collects came via $1,200 and $1,100 bets on Honour the Bet at $2.40. There was $1,000 on Clyde at $2.70, $300 on Pocket Call at $6, and $250 on Bono Hest at $8.50. Luckily, there was a couple of big bets that missed. It's Alf, $1,100 at $5.50 and $900 at $4.80. There was $1,000 and $900 and $500 bets all on All Money at $3.20, and there was also $1,000 on Spotlight the Valley at $2.70. Okay,
so seemed fair enough. And then Friday night, of course, we had Addington, less than ideal weather-wise, but looks like there was one race that stood out.
Yes, indeed. There was the punting race of the night, race 5, a maiden race there. The top 4 in the market all found very solid support. Down to the Bone won it. Bets on there, $700 and $300 at $5.50, and a $1,500 bet at $4.50. And there was also a $5,000 top 3 bet at $1.65 on him. Also shortening in the market there, Chubby Checker, $500 at $4.20, $800 at $3.80, and another $600 at $3.70. But he ran second. And the other two that attracted a lot of support, Silk and Jafford Josh. The punters really sorted out. They thought those were the top 4, and they didn't like the rest at all there. The best backed horse on the program, though, was, again, the last race, Monte Falco. He opened at $2.30, closed at $1.75. There was $800 on at the $2.30, $3,000 at $1.95, a couple of $1,000 bets at $1.80, $1,500, $1,000, $3,000, and a $2,500 bet all at the $1.75. So very strongly back late there, in particular Monte Falco. And it wasn't much fun for me watching him stroll around there and win by 4 lengths. A few big bets did miss there again, though. 2,000 on Sierra Gold at 280. There was 1,000 on, now I can't remember how they pronounce this one, on the Night Proviseur at $9, and $1,000 on Madeline Stowe at $225.
Yeah, I'll let you take that one pronunciation-wise. I always go the wrong way. Friday night, of course, we had Auckland as well. Looks as though punters were steady there too.
Yeah, there was plenty of $2,000 bets on the night there at Auckland. The best one, 2,000 on Matuatana at 240. Two other winners did plenty of damage for the punters there. Akarana Prince, this one opened 550, backed into 350 in race 4. There was $500 bets on at 390, 380 and 370. They were the largest on him, but there was a big stack of bets on him right at every price we put up. And the other one that they got onto, Mini Boutique, finally broke through, start 14, and punters were certainly on there. $1,000 and $800 bets at 320, $1,500 and $750 bet at 290. Misses on the night there, $1,000 on Ruby Rose at 280 and $2,000 at 230. There was $3,000 on All American at 2, as well as $2,000 bets at both 195 and 190. And then in the last race, $1,500 on Sagano at 240, as well as $1,200 at 230, $1,700 and $2,000 bets at 220.
Okay, and of course Sunday afternoon, it wasn't particularly nice weather-wise either at Rangiora, but punters still seemed to stick in there.
Yeah, it was a real winter weekend, really, wasn't it? It was pretty wet everywhere. Punters struck early there at Rangiora. 2 strongly backed maiden winners early on. War Hero in race 2, $8,000 at 175, and then $3,000 and 3 $2,000 bets, all at the 165. And the very next race, a similar story there. Espresso Denario, $3,500 at 260, $3,700 at 240. 2,000 at 220 and $800 bet at 2. So punters got a lot of money out of there, races 2 and 3. Thankfully, though, a bit of a switch was flicked there, and we fought back a bit. Some big misses, $2,200 and $1,000 bets on Crusher Collins at 340, $1,500 on Diana Harbour at 2, $1,500 on Do It Son to win at 450, and a $5,000 top 3 bet at 155. There was $1,000 on Franco Santino at 460. And $1,000 and $500 bets on He's a Ladies' Man at 480.
Okay, so that's wrapping up the week that was. It's a bit quieter going forward, as we'll talk about very soon. But multi of the week, you like to highlight the odd one for us, and you've got an 8-leg box multi this time round. Yeah,
it's a good collect. Don't get me wrong, but it's a case of gee, what could have been. A $1 unit box multi, as you said, 8 legs. So that came to $494 at Forbury. So trying to pick the card there at Forbury. Magician at 340 to run all top 3 bets. Magician 340, Lydia 310, All Money 155, Pocket Call 195. Louise Sonia 250. That was only ran 6, so that was where the problem came. But then back on track with Miss Bambucha at 320, Honour the Bet 128, and in the last Dismara at 370. So the $494 outlay turned into $7,526.80. Don't forget that. Had Louise Sonia run in the top 3 as well, the return would have been $42,710.82.
Oh my God, that is outstanding off $494. And even though you'd be stoked with $7,500, you'd never forget the other one, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sort of the big one that got away. We're sort of in the race there for a while too, Louise Sonia, but I'm sure they'll be trying again next week anyway.
Yeah.
That way. Oh,
good on them. Well done. Very few cash outs this week though, by the looks.
Not too many cash outs again this week, but the worst one I saw there, $300 on Monte Falco at $1.95. Would have returned $585, and as I said before, he just sort of strolled around at 1x4 as he liked. But for some reason, that was cashed out for $285 before the race.
Oh, okay. All right. So more money for you guys to play around with. And in terms of the week ahead, it's a bit quieter, isn't it?
It's a great week for me, Jess. Yeah, short week here. Only 3 meetings left to round out the season, of course. Addington and Auckland both on Friday night, and an Oamaru on Sunday means I get Thursday off. Yep,
and then you get to come back next week and start looking ahead again to things like New Zealand Cup, eh?
Exactly, yeah. Things are sort of quieting down there a bit there. The cup horses obviously all having a bit of a rest, and there hasn't been a lot of action there. There was a bit of a decent bet last week on the Devil's Own, so that one has shortened in a little bit. Good to see him back after a lot of injuries, but it's been pretty quiet on the New Zealand Cup front.
All right, well, I won't say New Zealand Cup again for a month at least, I know, but hey, Richard, thank you so much for your time as always, and you go back to your painting, eh?
Yep, thank you very much, Jess, not a problem.
And coming up, harness racing wise this week, a bit of a quieter week with Thursday night, no harness meeting on Thursday. Friday, we've got Alexandra Park in Addington, including Ladies' Night, so don't forget to get those tickets. addington.co.nz for Ladies' Night, they're selling out fast. And on Sunday, we have Oamaru in North Otago. And that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget you can find us on the HRNZ website, HRNZ Facebook page, Punters Lounge on tab.co.nz, via Spotify and iTunes.